What's up, Discord? Welcome back to another video. Okay, so in this video we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be back testing EG. We've already back tested this part of EG. We already went through all the sales that was going down, right? So we can already see that EG ended up going towards the upside and validating this high, right? We thought it was going to be a distribution, but it turned out to be a reaccumulation. So yeah, we covered all the shorts going down, right? We knew that there was a distribution here, got invalidated. The main entry came out of here. You can see this wick that came to mitigate here. This was the main entry that I remember. And there was another entry here. There was another entry here. It was three main entries that was sitting here. And then it got kind of sketchy when we got here. Okay, so we know there was three main shorts sitting right there, and all of those shorts was targeting this low. Okay, I wish I still had the market up, but it kind of got deleted. So let's get right into it. The last price action I remember, and I'm gonna let this play out. Oh yes, we did look for shorts here as well. I can already see it. There's a distribution sitting right here. Let me zoom in. Yeah, there we go. Distro sitting right here. Yeah, distro, right? It was a distro during London session. We have another distribution right here, and then we was trying to take entries as it was going down with these mitigations. Okay, that was pretty much that entry there, and let's keep going. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm letting the market go down until it shows me opportunities that we want to see buyers, right? Any types of accumulation or anything like that that we would potentially want to see. Okay. Okay, so I know this right here was the last kind of distro that we got, and I did mark this area out. This was the last big distribution that we got. Okay, so here it is right here. That's our supply zone. Market ends up breaking this low here, which here would have been an opportunity where I would be looking for buys, but looking in hindsight, we never got any opportunities there. I know exactly that we did have opportunities sitting somewhere here with accumulations and things like that. So I really just want to go in and just see what type of accumulations they were. Did we have any reasoning that we could have found to take those accumulations, and just back testing this all together to see what we can improve on, looking at the market, taking other sides, looking at different types of entries that we could get ourselves into. Okay. We know what the structure is. We have a good idea of where the market going. Well, in this back test, we actually know exactly where the market going. We know the market is going higher. So we know where the market is going here. So there is no excuse for us to say, I didn't know the market is going to go higher, whatever the case may be. We've already seen the future of this chart. So now our job is to see what opportunities, what buying opportunities, where they're here. And yes, if I could have gotten myself into those entries, and know why I couldn't have gotten myself into those entries. So we want to see every possibility, every possible entry. Okay, that is the point here. I want to see what types of buying opportunity there was here. Something that I could really build right now, if I really wanted to build something here and build a let's say a point of interest for you guys. Let's say if I wanted to build a point of interest, one thing I see here is we have accumulation. Okay, so technically we have an accumulation here. This is the slingshot of the accumulation here. All right, this area here, that's the slingshot of the accumulation. So we draw out the 50 and the 80. Okay, and we know that this here is going to be more important than this one, because this is part of the accumulation that caused the pullback, right? Okay, cool. We know that. So we have an accumulation. We drew out our fibs, because we know that this here as the spring has already been mitigated. All right, that's already been mitigated. The thing that hasn't been mitigated is this drive to the downside. Okay, why? Because we did not tap into the 50, or we could still go down to the 80. All right, understand that as well. All right, so I'm just trying to build a kind of like bias here as to, you know, why would we look for buys in this area. And also if we look at the market, how does market cycle go? Market cycle usually goes like this. We'll have in market going down, we'll have an accumulation, right? We'll have an accumulation. Market will go higher, and then we will build a reaccumulation. Okay, so if this is our if this is our accumulation, then we are expecting a reaccumulation. I know we've seen a reaccumulation here, but if this is overall an accumulation, then we could potentially see a bigger reaccumulation. Okay, and now, like, just going off that bias, this market doesn't seem so crazy now, right? I know a lot of people probably looking at this that was in real time didn't see this, but now that we're in hindsight and we're looking at this, it doesn't look right. It doesn't seem too crazy to say that. Just based off looking at this could potentially just look like our creek, right? So let's go ahead and get right into it. So let's build that bias right there. We know we have an accumulation right there. We know this is our last drive to the downside inside of this right here. So technically this area is what caused the break of here, right? So let's focus on this as our accumulation. Okay, we'll focus on this, our accumulation. We know this area here, and let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's watch the market and see how we react in here and see what buying opportunities did the market give that gave us that huge push towards the upside. Okay, and possibly what could we got entered into. And I'm gonna make this move a lot faster as well, so we could really get right into it. All right, first things first, let me go back, because as soon as I did that, the market went crazy. All right, first things first. We can already see that we're building a schematic, right? I should have covered that before I played it so fast, but we can already see that we're building a schematic. Where's the schematic? We have a selling climax. We have an automatic rally. We have a secondary test in phase B potentially, right? And then this right here is our sign of strength. Make that cleaner. Sign of strength. All right, so what are we looking for? We're looking for our spring. We're looking for this. Looking for one more drive to the downside. What else could potentially happen? We could potentially have a fractal accumulation occur here. So what does that mean? That means this will be our spring, but there could also be an accumulation inside of the spring. Okay. So let's see what happens. Go down to the 1 minute time frame here. All right, we see the market is giving us some drives toward the downside. We have one, we have two. We're looking for that Frankfurt open manipulation. One, two drives. Okay, currently we have structure going like this. So let me go ahead and draw out structure. So we have one drive, this here. If I want to mark out an accumulation, right, on a fractal accumulation, this right here would be it, right? This will be my selling climax. Automatic rally here, secondary test. This whole thing would be my STMB, and all I'm waiting for here is for us to give one more drive to be our spring. Okay, so what now? Well, like I said, I was going to draw out my structure. This is the high that's currently holding this low. So I need this low. I need this right here to make a new high. And if this is going to be the spring, I need us to break this high. Okay. So let's go ahead and see. All right. So that's exactly what happened. Make this. So what I need now is this high to be broken, and then I can take an entry based off of that. Okay, now, what do we have here? We have this last drive here that I'm looking at personally. So what I would do here is, now that we have our accumulation, right? We have a fractal accumulation inside of a major accumulation. Where am I taking entries from? Well, I know that the market came down, so this created this low here. This is the slingshot that broke this high. So I know the market is most likely going to mitigate here, since that is the price action that created Frankfurt, right? So what I'm going to do is I can take two entries. I can take an entry like this. I could take an entry off of the 50, right? Since we broke this high here, I have opportunity to take an entry, okay? That's what gives me opportunity to take an entry since we broke that high, right? That's a change of character. I can take an entry off here off of the 50. That's one type of entry. And I can take another entry off of the 80, which is going to give me a smaller stop loss. And what I also could do is, let's say the market comes down and we do not mitigate any of this. So none of these right here, my limit orders are not going to get activated. If I see an accumulation occur here, I could take another accumulation within that. All right, so let's go ahead and let the market play out a little bit. Let's see what happens. So right now we're sitting at entry off of the 50 and we have an entry off the 80. And how do you take these entries? So it depends on how much you're risking. If you're risking, let's say you're risking 0.5% per trade. If you want to risk 0.5% per trade, if you want to count this as just one trade on EG, what you could do is just split your risk between both of these. So you'll take 0.25 here and 0.25 here. So if you're risking $250 overall, if you wanted to risk $250 overall on EG right here, then what you would do is just 125 here, 125 there. Okay. So we did not mitigate the 50 yet, right? Until we break this high here, these limits are still active. So one thing that I'm seeing already is we're building a schematic, right? We can see we have a selling climax. I wish I could go down to the seconds time frame. Selling climax, we have an automatic rally. We have some secondary tests. Nothing is going to get me to really take an entry based off of this small thing until we give me a manipulation of this selling climax, at least. Okay, so let me delete all these letters so it doesn't get completely in the way. All right, we can see the schematic is building itself even more. And no, we do not have a mitigation. As you guys can see, no mitigation of this whatsoever. So now what? Now we have two entries here that did not give us any mitigation or indication. So now what I would do is I would have this being my known unmitigated area, because this is now mitigated. So now this here is going to be my area where I'll be looking for potential accumulation once we get back down here. Okay, that's how we'll do it. So now what? Okay, so basically if we're looking at the order flow so far, we're still in this bearish order flow going towards the downside. Even though we're looking for buys, let's see what the market gave us here. And I know exactly what the market gave us here, honestly, because I was trying to trade it during the time. So I'm gonna just let it do its thing so you guys can see the amount of the amount of BS that EG was on this day. So let it play a little faster, because I know exactly what I already know what happened here, because I was trading that, trying to get into that sell during that time, and many people already know this as well. So from the Discord, market's trying to create distribution, as we all saw before, right? We saw the market create distribution. There's going to be one more drive, right? We learned that from when we were trading it. All right, so first of all, what happened was, right, what happened here was we have several drives towards the upside. This was a change of character here. This was a fractal distribution, and I know a lot of people were taking entries off of this. I do not blame you, right? I try to take an entry here as well. It's completely okay. If you took an L here, that is completely fine. I took an L here as well, so that is completely fine, right? As long as the market does not break this high here, we're still okay to take shorts. All right, so the market did give us one more drive, which was super unexpected. So After it did give us that one more drive, I'm gonna let it hurry up. There it is. It gave us that one more drive. So what does that mean? That means now we have this high, right, which broke this low right here, right? So that means this low here is now holding us, so we need to break this low now, which we did. Speed this up. And honestly, I must have not remembered this a lot correctly, because we're seeing another distribution as well here. There goes that drive, and there goes the breakdown. Okay, so here we go. This was the low that we needed to break to confirm that at least we had a distribution right here. So at first I was looking at this distribution. I was looking at this as a distro right here. This low here is still was maintaining us. When we did this pullback here, we got now to here. Okay. So now this is the low here that was holding our bigger schematic. Okay, that was the low that got broken. And also we do have a fractal schematic as well. You can see I drew out the low that we needed to break here as well. Okay, so we had a bigger schematic, right? I told you guys, right, we were waiting for this low to break. Boom, the market went up, made a new high. We gave a retracement, boom, and made a new high again. So that means this low is what's holding us higher off of this bigger distribution, right? Okay, cool. So this is the low that we need to break in order to take an entry off of the larger distro. But like we were speaking on before, we do have a fractal distribution here, as you guys can see, right? High, low, ST. We have multiple STs in here, ST and B. This was the last one, right? ST and B. So this here is the manipulation from this low to this high, which took out all of this liquidity, right? Went down, right? So that means this is our UTAD. Our UTAD. And since this was the low that created the high that raised the liquidity, this is what we need to break to confirm the UTAD. So what does that mean? That means that this is the low to confirm this fractal distro. Okay, so we confirm both distros. We confirm the bigger distribution. We confirm the fractal distribution. So now where do we look for entries? Me personally, I had an entry sitting at the 50%. Okay, 50% of the entire 50% of the entire UTAD. All right, only a 4 pip stop loss. So cool. What does this market do? Go ahead and look for yourself. Flew to the downside. All right, so what does that mean for us? Now, I know many people are probably trying to take an entry also here. Right, if you took an entry here, just based off of this last candle, kudos to you. All right, but I was looking more so to take the entry off of the main UTAD itself. There's nothing wrong with taking the entry here. It's just if I take an entry here, based off the way that I take my entries. Sorry about that. My mouse is all over the place. All right, I had to change my DPI. So yeah. So based off the way that I take my entries, if I was going to take an entry off of here, my stop loss would have to be above the UTAD here, which would be a 7.7 pip stop loss, which would probably be an 8 pip stop loss. And I just didn't want to take an entry because I didn't want to take that entry because I was confident that we would probably come to the 50% because it was so early. It was still kind of early in New York session. So I gave the benefit of the doubt to EG that it would make that push up there. And simply, I just didn't want to take that large stop loss because honestly, the market could still come do something like this, tap into the 50. Even if we invalidate this small area, this whole thing is the manipulation, okay? That whole thing is the manipulation, which means the market can do whatever it wants here. As long as we don't break this low, we're still looking for shorts. So technically, me putting my risk just off of this small area, knowing that this high is my stop loss, it wouldn't have sufficed me at that time, okay? Unless I was being aggressive. If you were being aggressive and you just took a short here and probably had multiple shorts sitting higher, that was a great plan, okay? That plan worked out for you. But at that time, that's not what I was thinking, right? I gave EG the benefit of the doubt. I didn't see no reason for us to kind of sell away that quickly on that day. So, but, you know, it happens. But this is what exactly happened. We ended up never coming back here. So, looking in hindsight, what I'm thinking is all we did was just mitigate the open of this UTAD. All right, so market moves lower, but don't forget about our buys that we're looking at here. All right. So market moves lower. We go into Sydney. I'm gonna let it move a little faster. I want it to come into Asian and come into I'm gonna delete this here, whatever this is. It's getting in my way. Okay. All right, Asian session. All right, here we go. It is 2:15. Okay, so cool. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame. What do we see here? What is the market forming? It's forming a schematic. Okay, so the schematic is not super clean yet, so it's not something I would take an entry off of just yet. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now this is a better schematic. All right, so we have two drives like this. Okay, 1, 2, right? That's our ST. If we break this high here, that'll give me something. All right, that'll give me something. We gave one more manipulation, which is even better. All right, so now all I need is for us to break this high, and now I can clearly say that I want to take a limit order off of this, because now, did we tap into it? There we go. All right, it's still this high, okay? That's the high I still want to break. And we clearly tapped into our, there we go, I accidentally pressed play. But we clearly tapped into our area that we marked out earlier. All right, now look what happens. Market gives a clean schematic. I could already see the schematic forming. I didn't know if it was going to be an ugly schematic or not, so that's why I was prepared for it to be an ugly schematic. Even if it was an ugly schematic, I still would have taken it. But just looking at it right now, what do we do now? Let's go to the 5 minute time frame real quick. All right, so first entry, me personally, is going to be here off of this 5 minute candle, because it's the last candle towards the downside. Filling an imbalance as well. We know that this is going to be our first, let's say, safe entry on this market with a 5.7, I'd say 5.7 pip. Let's make it a 6 pip stop loss to be safe, just including spread and everything like that. This is the last candle to go to the downside, and we see that here's where imbalance is getting filled. Technically, this whole thing here is the spring, and if I draw out my fibs, let's say we wanted to draw out the fibs of the 50% of the spring. What is the spring? This whole thing would be the spring. Let's see where the spring lines up as well. Spring lines up a little bit lower. Spring lines up a little bit lower. The 50% of the spring, I mean, lines up a little bit lower, but that makes this entry even better for me. Okay, so that's a first good safe entry, I would say. And targeting, we're going to target this high right here. We're not going to target too much, right? I know this RR is not crazy. Okay, so we're going to target this supply zone right here, because we got to think about, we know the market's finna fly, right? We know the market's finna take off. So let's just think about, what if we were What if we were during this process and we didn't know we didn't know that was going to happen? Okay, so basically, from our last and previous backtesting videos, technically, if I want to be technical, we are still in shorts. Okay, like I said before, we had 3 major shorts in the last backtesting video. I deleted all of the backtesting work that was here, but we had 3 major shorts that we were still holding, and mainly our target was create a new low. Right before that, we seen this potential hedging opportunity came in. So because we are inside of these shorts, we can hedge these longs. What does that mean? That means we are in shorts already. Those 3 main shorts that we were in already, right? Assuming that we're holding these shorts until we get to this low, we can hedge longs, meaning what does that mean? We could, once we get into buying opportunities, we can hold these buys just in case. So we'll have shorts and we'll have buys sitting here. So wherever the market goes, we'll be safe. Okay, that was the point that I was trying to get across here, is learn how to hedge and when to hedge. All right, so let me go ahead and move this off, and let's go into this entry a little bit more. I was on the 1 minute time frame. Here we go. So here's your first type of entry that you could take. This is the safest entry, like I said before. The next entry that we can do is if the market gives us another accumulation, another fractal accumulation, we'll take that as well. So let's see how the market goes ahead and reacts inside this area. So we go ahead and mitigate the area, okay? But let's go ahead and zoom in. What are we seeing? We're seeing the market give us some type of consolidation, which could mean that we are accumulating again. So I'm gonna slow this down. Let's see what the market actually gives us. Okay, what do we see? The market actually went down to the 80% of the spring. All right, now to my Discord members. Now I know I just created a video and somebody was asking me, what's the importance of the fibs? Well, you're seeing it right here. Okay, so we have the spring. I drew out the 50 and the 80 before this even happened, and I didn't even know that we reacted off the 80%. Look at what happens. We reacted off the 80. Mind you, my entry that I took was here off of the 50, not off the 50, but off the 5-minute open, right? That 5-minute wick kind of candle, that's the entry that I chose to take as my safest entry. Okay, but we can see if you were going to take an entry off the fibs alone, whether it be the 50 or the 80, you would have got tapped into both. So hypothetically speaking, if you were going to take an entry here as well, this would have been a 2-pip stop loss. Okay, we're talking a 2-pip stop loss, guys. I'm just gonna leave it alone though. We're gonna stick with these entries right here. More practical. So boom, we broke. Let's see if we did break it. All right, we broke this high. So the reason why I am important, or the reason why this high is important, because what are we seeing? We're seeing accumulation, right? We have 1 drive right here, we have 2 drives, and we have 3 drives, which mitigated the 80 of this. I'm sorry I didn't say it before, but this is also an accumulation, right? Fractal accumulation here. We have another fractal accumulation forming. So inside of this fractal accumulation, what do we need to break to confirm that we can take an entry just based off of this alone? We have to break this high, right? Because this high is what's holding us lower, and then we just broke that high. So now that means this accumulation is confirmed. What do I do now? Draw my fibs from the low to the high. Look for my 50 and the 80. I'm gonna put my entry off of the 50 here. Now we have a 2.1 pip stop loss. Okay, that will be my second entry, and we're gonna target the exact same thing, right? I want to get us up here. Remember, we're hedging, so we're technically already in shorts, and the purpose of hedging is technically we are already in shorts, so any losses that we take on these buying positions, any losses that we take on these hedging buying positions will be covered by our shorts. All right, so let's let the market move a little bit. Market goes down, we mitigate, and there you go. There goes your mitigation, and we have 2 entries now. We have clean fractal accumulation, and then we had our we had our 5-minute entry sitting here. So I'm gonna go ahead and space these out. I'm gonna try to space these out. So we have one entry sitting here, and then we have this entry sitting here. All right, those are 2 entries. That's the safest entry, our 6 pip stop loss, and this is our 2.1 pip stop loss entry. Okay, and let's let the market play out. We could potentially take another entry off of here if you want to get greedy. All right, let's do it again. We'll draw the fibs from the 50 to the 80. I believe the 50 sitting around right here. This is going to be another 2 pip stop loss. All right, we'll draw the fibs higher, and let's see if we get that entry. All right, the market does not give the entry, but this is still an area to take it. And this entry is still confirmed because we broke this high. So now we are break even. We are break even on this trade right here. And for this trade right here, we are reduced risk. Since we have this accumulation, I'm going to place all my bets that this accumulation is going to hold. Okay, so that means for this main trade right here, we're not going to go at break even because we don't want the market coming down to mitigate our accumulation and going higher. That would take us out of this bigger trade, this bigger stop loss trade. So we're going to go reduce risk, which we're just going to put our stop loss underneath the low of the accumulation. But for this accumulation, for the entry of the accumulation, we can go fully break even on that one. So let's see how the market moves now. We come down. Here we go. We didn't come down to the point where we wanted a mitigation of this, but we did come down. So let's see us move. And I believe that is it. I believe the market takes off. So yeah, we did get ourselves back into this area. Now that we're in that area, we could take some partials. I'm gonna delete this trade since it didn't activate. We can take some partials since we are inside of this supply zone, quote unquote. And now we're in buys, we're in shorts. We want to see which side of the market we want to stay on. And I believe you guys already know which side won. So there you go. Those were the 2 entries, I believe, and that is all I believe, because after that the market just took off, correct? Yeah, after that the market just took off. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw these 2 entries out. Go ahead and draw these 2 entries out. So far right now, that's at a 1 to 50, and then your bigger trade is at a 1 to 17. All right, so you can kind of see the difference between a 6 pip stop loss and a 2 pip stop loss trade. And you see why we are on these lower time frames looking for these fractal entries, and why that we want to get the smallest stop loss possible that would get us into the trade. Okay. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say you wanted to take the 80, right? Hypothetically speaking, if you didn't want to take this bigger trade and you took the 80 of this bigger accumulation that sat it here, right? If you would have took the 80 of that, which is sitting down here, right? The market tapped into, the accumulation happened at the 80%, okay? The spring of the accumulation happened at the 80%. I don't think you guys are seeing the amount of confluence that's happening here. You have 2 1 to 50 trades, okay? But on a safer note, this would have been the safest entry, okay? So that was pretty much it. That's the kind of back test that I wanted to show you guys, just to show you guys this the thought process behind it. You know, the thought process behind the opposite side of the market, the process of hedging, and how you want to do that. You can see it all started from right here. Okay, it all started from right here, and then we missed an entry here off this first accumulation. So what I did, I marked out this area here. We've been marked out the area. The market came here. We looked for potential shorts there, right? We seen the market came back, accumulated again within a accumulation that has a fractal accumulation. You guys can see the fractalness of the market. And so this is how we seen that's my MT4. This is how we seen that the market actually gives us that evidence that buyers are getting to the market. So first of all, we have a bigger accumulation, right? Then we have a fractal accumulation here, right? The market goes higher. When we come back, we have another accumulation within this fractal accumulation. That's a bigger accumulation, right? That's my MT4 again. After that, we have a fractal accumulation sitting inside of here that mitigated this accumulation, right? I know that could be a tongue twister, but I just wanted to show you guys the how fractal the market is. Okay, so, and of course there's probably more entries. I wanted to catch I want to show you guys the sniper entries. Of course, there's probably more mitigation entries that you could have potentially got yourself into, right? But these were the sniper entries. All right. These are the long-term sniper entries that we like to look for to get those huge RR. Okay. And of course, during the day for scalps, you could have took entries within these areas here. So that is pretty much it for this back test, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any pair that you recommend that you want me to back test for the Discord, let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.